All right, everyone, here we are, the last lecture on DeVito, and really the last content lecture. I might have a message or two for you later as needed, but this is really the last content lecture, and we're going to talk about group function today, which is chapter 10 from DeVito, leaders, helpers, and derailers. Oh, and as a special treat this lecture for the three of you who are still watching lectures, actually I hope it's more than that, uh, I've decided to make each transition between slides to be really annoying, just sort of silly. So let's see what the first one is. What do we have? Ooh, honeycomb, very exciting. So the first thing I want to talk about is groupthink. And your book talks about groupthink primarily in terms of how to prevent groupthink rather than maybe being as clear as it could about what groupthink is. I am posting an article for you about groupthink that I'll touch on a little bit here. It's a very brief article. It's an online article, it's just a few paragraphs, but it's a nice illustration of groupthink, and I'll be referring to it here. Ooh, bars. That was bars. Okay. So groupthink, which is often referred to as going collectively insane, occurs when there is complete consensus in the group, always. Or at least there is very much the pressure for complete consensus, that we all are to agree all the time. There's a very high premium put on that, and conflict is highly devalued. Conflict is actually seen as being a real problem. There is a high pressure to conform. It is expected you will go along, get along, agree, that support the decision we all endorse, right? Never question it. Very high pressure to conform. And so dissent then is seen as disloyalty. If you're questioning a decision that's made or questioning actions that are being taken by the group, you're not loyal to us, you don't respect us, you don't love us, sort of thing, right? So this leads to very bad decision making, really bad decision making. And I'm hoping what you're seeing there, if you think about discussions about conflict, is that this group does not ever want conflict, or when a group gets to this point, they never want conflict. They're experiencing groupthink. And so there was a case study of this, or written about this, regarding the 1986 Space Shuttle Challenger disaster, in which there was a lot of pressure on, first off, for the shuttle to launch that day because it was going to line up with the President's State of the Union. It was a high-profile launch. It was the first time we were going to put a teacher in space, Krista McAuliffe, who is very well known posthumously now. She became well known at that time, just before this time as well. And so those who were questioning, it's a good time to do this. They didn't speak much. They were squelched, and the space shuttle exploded at liftoff, in part because it was just too cold for the shuttle to be doing that. The article I posted for you refers to the 2000, forgive me if I get the year wrong, the 2003 Columbia disaster, in which once again groupthink led to people not questioning the decisions of the group and those who were higher up. There was a pressure to not dissent, and as a result, people doing business as usual, not question themselves. A space shuttle crew died. So that's what the article is about. It's fairly brief, but it's very interesting, and so I encourage you to look at that. Woo! Paper airplane, probably my favorite transition. Okay, so I want to look at roles. You actually have a participation activity about this. I want to look at roles, three different types of roles: task, maintenance, and individual. Ooh, the plus transition. So task roles, here are some key ones. The information seeker and information giver, right? This is the person who's always trying to figure out, or trying to not figure out, but always asking the questions. Always saying, I just want to take a second here. Do we know how much, before we do this, how much money are we going to have left? Or they're always one giving the information. They're the ones who knows the policy is, the rule, the dates, the deadline. They're saying, please don't forget that in a week we're going to have to, right? So there's the information seekers and givers. A really important task role. These are task roles. These are about the group functioning effectively. There's the initiator contributor, right? They're the ones who are always coming up with, they're initiating. They're starting it off like, hey, have we thought about it? Have we tried? Right? So they're always initiating, contributing, as opposed to those who are saying, oh, it's a good idea, let's build on it. These are the people who are always proposing the idea, getting the ball rolling. They're initiating. The elaborator, right? The elaborator is the one who says, that's a good idea. I've heard about this before, and right. So they may not be offering a new idea, and that's okay. But they're the ones who if it's sort of like in volleyball. Sports metaphors are very rare for me, but in volleyball, right, there's the bump, the set, and the spike, right? Well, the bump is the person who says, here's an idea, hits it up, right? And then the person who sets it goes and keeps it in aloft a little bit longer, goes, yeah, that's a good start to it. Let me go ahead and keep it up so we can then, drive it home in a second here, right? So forgive the sports analogy if it doesn't work for you. But the elaborator has an important role as well, right? So the initiator is someone who says, I got this idea, and the elaborator says, right. Let me help you build that. Let me help you make that more. The evaluator and critic, we hear the word critic and we don't like that, but the evaluator and critic is the one who says, well, that can be good. Here's my concern, or here's why this doesn't always work, or they're just the ones who they look at it, and so the group is heading headlong. This sounds great, says, have we, not have we made, but says, my concern is that as we do this, doing this event is going to drain our resources. We'll have no more events this year. I mean, they're the evaluator, the one who's always just thinking, this plan, this this decision we're making, what are going to be the consequences of it, right? So you get the person who then the top there, the information seeker giver, is a person who's looking for the information and giving information to make decisions. The person who's contributing new ideas to the process. The person who helps build on those new ideas, and the person who says, let's step back and look at how all of them work together. So each of them are fulfilling important functions in the group. Right. We also then get the procedural technician. This keeps everybody on the straight and narrow, right? Are we going to meet again? Are we all set? Should we vote on this before we go any further? Do we need to take a minute and right? They're the procedural technician. They're just the one that makes sure you have good. Everybody else is doing all this other stuff with information and getting the thing going. And this person says, let's make sure we have a good process. That sounds like some sort of delaying thing, but I'll put it this way. When a court case is appealed, you do not appeal the decision itself per se. They find the person guilty. I'm appealing it. I'm not guilty. No, the appeal is based upon, was there a flaw in the procedure by which the decision was reached, or is the law unfair? But right, the key most often is, was there a problem in the means by which the decision was reached? Not the person really innocent, but was there a flaw in the process? So reviewing process is hugely important, right? Most things going to appeal, they get kicked out because of a flaw in process. Oh, falling over, that's fun. Okay, maintenance roles, right? So these are the people who are doing things that help with the people side of this. We talked about task and people functions in the last lecture, right? The encourager and harmonizer, good idea, I see what you're saying, but maybe we should wait, right? So even I see what you're saying, but maybe we should wait. See how it's creating harmony, right? It's saying, no, but doing it in a very nice way, like, I see what you're saying, but maybe maybe we wait. It's the harmonizer. I am, at part being the child of divorced parents, very much the harmonizer, very much, hey, well, maybe we're not so far apart on this, or, I think we all appreciate what you're saying, but we just think that maybe right now is not a good time, right? So the harmonizer, making sure everybody's feeling happy. So encourager says, good job, and keep at it. And the harmonizer says, hey, everybody, let's all be friends here. We could disagree, but still all be friends, and, we don't have to ruin Thanksgiving. Okay, nothing ever that bad. All right. Oh, two of them at once. I didn't mean to do that. The compromiser, right, is the idea of, fine. Somebody has to do something, so if you will just do blank, I'll take care of the rest, right? If you will just go, like, say here, if I pick up the supplies on the way, can someone come early to help? Like, fine. I will go and get the stuff, but I need somebody else, right? So this compromiser, person is always looking for how they can give a little bit to make the thing work. The gatekeeper and expediter, right? I think Dana wanted to say something, right? So this is a maintenance role. It is about process in a way, because it's about gatekeeping. Gatekeeping being making sure that we know, so gatekeeping makes sure that nobody talks too much, and the people who are being more quiet are being encouraged to speak, right? Saying, we've heard a lot from you, and I appreciate that, but I wonder what others over here who've been more quiet have to say, right? That's a gatekeeper, controlling a little bit who's speaking and who's not. An expediter also keeps things moving along sort of swiftly. So it can have technical functions in terms of making sure people are speaking and all that, but it's about making sure everyone is feeling involved, nobody's dominating and engaging in a negative behavior, which we'll talk about in a minute here, right? The gatekeeper, expediter. We get the standard setter, right? The person who they're just making sure that we're all, we should try to keep our meetings to 30 minutes, or maybe we should all watch the tones that we're using, or, right? They're always saying a standard for making sure the group is going to be working okay, right? It would be really helpful if we all got here on time so we get out of here on time as well, right? They're a standard setter, right? And then the follower, right? Just doesn't, that's fine. There's been a lot of debate and discussion on this. I'm willing just to go for it. Whatever you want to do, that's good by me. All followers all the time, bad. Like, as in like one leader and a bunch of followers all the time can be very bad. Go back to groupthink, right? No question, no dissent. But sometimes saying, you know what, in this group, right now what you need are, when I grew up, the expression was, we used to always say worker ants, right? You just need worker ants, right? We already have a queen. We need our worker ants, people just to put the stuff in their back and drag it around. So sure, just tell me what to do. And that's an okay thing. Ooh, that's sort of fun. Individual roles, right? And here's some bad ones. Right? The aggressor, right? They're the ones who they engage in those negative conflict behaviors we talked about before. They come after people. They're aggressors about themselves, not the idea. There's the recognition seekers. Oh, these are always fun. They're narcissists, right? These are narcissists. Gosh, boy, we had such a successful event last year. Everyone just told me what a good job I was doing. I thought, gosh, really, I'm hardly working at all, but everyone seems so happy with me, right? So they're always needing to make sure that it's about them, or the self-confessor having to turn it back to them and their concern, their personal concerns, their personal worries, not about the group. Right? The blocker, self-explanatory. That's not going to work. I don't think it's a good idea either. No, it's no good. They shoot down everything. So these people are a royal pain in the rump. I mean, all these people are annoying in different ways, right? The special interest pleader, they have an agenda, and that's really what they're pushing, right? So they're really insistent that we have an event where we're going to have to have an event where you can actually have people, right? But where we have an event where we serve ice cream, and that way we can use my aunt's ice cream parlor. Well, wait, what? Maybe we don't have ice cream. No, we really need to have ice cream there, but just so we can give your aunt more business. You know what I mean? Or aunt, I never say the word correctly, right? So yeah. And then, as I referenced earlier, the dominator, right? This is the person who the discussion has to be all about them, revolve around them. They control those conversations. They're the dominator. You know what's going to do it. Oh, the curtains. Classy. Right. So the member skills, right? And these are very much about helping and supporting people, being group-oriented, right? They center conflict on issues and centering on issues that is not on people, right? They're being critically open-minded. This goes back to the notion of reason skepticism, which I believe we discussed very early in the term. Critically open-minded is, I'm willing to take all ideas and to not just accept them automatically, but also not shoot them down the second I hear them, but take any idea and consider for a moment before I say yes or no to it. I might end up saying no to it, but I'll give it a second and say, well, I mean, would it work? Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a terrible idea. But, you give it a second, right? And that's a really useful thing to be doing, right? And beware of, and in your group, of social loafing, right? Those people who are never, they're not even just followers, they're just like seat fillers, right? They're never really doing anything. Because followers at least sort of going along and doing some work maybe, but these people are just loafing. They're not contributing. They're not really doing much work. They're trying to see just how little they can do, not because they're trying to not get in the way, but because they just don't want to have to do work. So always beware of that social loafing. right? And because these people, they think about those class groups that never really work well, right? When they don't, people who have low investment, right? They just don't care about this class, this project, whatever. They are people who don't usually, so there's low cohesion. They don't feel connected to the group. They don't feel any investment in you and success. And low consequences. They just don't think this is going to affect them very much. They just don't care. And so they end up socially loafing and are really annoying. Right. And so another thing to do is try to ensure understanding, right? Just to encourage the group, right? Ensuring understanding just as a way to encourage the group to move along cooperatively, right? And as we talked about before, beware of groupthink, right? So not doubting or questioning or not being open to new ideas and new information. This is all very, very dangerous, very bad. So these are things to do: is to be group-oriented as opposed to being self-oriented, focus on conflicts on issues, not on people, right? Taking critically open-minded, right? Avoiding being aware of people in your or even in yourself, just sort of loafing, not really contributing, as my uncle would say, gold bricking, basically, right? Uh, ensure understanding that people are really getting what it is that we're doing, right? That everybody's on the same page here, and being aware of groupthink, being willing to question and bring in new perspectives and new ways. Whew. Fun. Leadership.